Hello, everybody. Welcome to Howling with the Wolves number 6 with me, Mohit.
Me, Melvin Wolf.
And me, Nicholas. Today we are gonna do something different. We're gonna discover the world.
The
Right?
first topic is European identity, introduced by Melvin Wolf.
Who's
Hello, everybody. I am Melvin Wolf.
Oh,
Joke. So, I got this email around 10 days ago, or 2 weeks ago, by a PhD student here. I think it was a PhD student who wanted to do a discussion about European identity and had to write a research paper on it. I went there. The discussion, the PhD student nearly didn't participate. She just kind of gave the ideas and asked some questions. We were two Germans and two East Europeans, Balkan people. The two Germans, though, being very internationally growing up, me having lived, more in France than in Germany, and been gone to school over the world and not being that German, feeling more European. And the girl, good question. She had lived outside of Europe too, and also inside of Europe, also more outside of Germany than in Germany, like very similar to me. Just that it wasn't France. Don't ask me what the question is. Was the Albanian, not the Albanians. I think they were Albanians. Don't even ask me. But the two Balkan people, I think one of them had lived more or less most of his life in his country, and the other one had traveled a bit more. Like I think also lived in other countries, but also mainly in that country. And the question was, we kind of moved from European identity and European Union since they are two related topics. But we were trying to identify what makes us feel not as Germans or as Albanians or whatever, but as Europeans, and how does that kind of identity come, and what matters. And I guess we want to talk about that here too. So to give you kind of a short summary, I guess, we didn't agree. The goal was not to agree. The goal was to discuss. What kind of came up together a lot was agreements on freedom of speech and those kind of basic democratic values, really. Not European values, really the democratic values, yeah?
Yeah.
Democracy, freedom of speech, and all of that. What also came up more from the Balkan people, where the Germans were kind of, so me and that girl, like not really agreeing, was, for example, they didn't exactly say religion, although they also kind of touched on Christianity, but because we were comparing, for example, should Turkey be part and so on. Core, like when people talk about core values, and I'm like, yeah, isn't that what people say when they mean religion but don't say it, Or I kind of like went in that direction. So there we kind of disagreed. Also, the question is kind of, does European identity, is it defined by what we all have in common? So just those core things, or is it the mixture of everything, you see? Like as a
Yeah.
German, you would say, I don't know, what represents, like what's German culture? Beer, Schlager,
bird,
being on time,
sausages.
sausages, yeah, engineering, car industry, that kind
Ah,
of, yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Now for Europe, that's not really true anymore. If you look at
yeah,
Europe, it's more alcohol, coffee, you know.
yeah. I mean, like, Albania and Germany are two very, very different nations, but when I think of it.
Yes, definitely.
Exactly.
But what was very, very, very clear, though, to make this very clear, those Balkan people, they very strongly agreed that they felt European, were very happy to feel European. They were young people, of course, yeah, and like not saying this is the case for everybody, but it wasn't a case of like, I don't know, we're just happy we're in the UN, get the money. But yeah, I don't know. You guys, what's your opinion on all this? I'll just throwing this out there at you now.
Well, I think it's interesting to bring up that just the idea of a European identity is a topic. Just because there's a lot of talk about leaving the EU and the EU failing as a
Do not mix up EU and European identity right here, please. Like
no.
we can go into EU later, yeah, in this. But European identity is more like what makes you culturally feel like you're European. Would you say you're a European and why? Make sense?
Well, what I'm saying is the reason that people talk about European identity as a problem is
Okay.
that the EU, as a politicized
Mm-hmm.
extension of like European
Yeah.
identity, is kind of having a rough time.
Definitely, yeah.
So that's why people talk about it.
I
Because
definitely I agree with you. I would just want to steer this specific podcast away from the politic of leaving the EU or not, because I think then we're gonna leave the topic completely. In the time we have.
Mm.
Yes.
Nicholas, if I ask you, do you feel European? Would you say yes? Do you feel more European or more German? Because I personally feel more European than German.
Well, the two of us share a lot of history.
Mhm.
We've gotten to know each other in France,
Mhm.
way outside of Germany. So I do have to say I don't feel particularly German in general.
I would like to
Much more
point out though
European
that
than
you still grew up more German than me. You went to German schools and I think you also lived in German way more than I did. So I'm actually surprised by your answer here. But okay.
I mean, still the majority of my life was spent in France. And
Okay.
while you're right, I did go to the German school in France, which is quite an interesting constellation if you think about it. I did not do the thing that some other people did who lived there, to completely seclude myself,
True.
which is a different topic.
Yeah, definitely.
Integration and migration, which we should talk about another day, but not today.
But you would say you feel European, right?
Yes.
Then if I ask you Europe, like, give me words which you combine, which you would think of if you think of Europe, European identity. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, please do, because I'm
Okay. Beer, coffee, wine, cheese, democracy, freedom of speech. Music, which sucks. National music, which is very different but has similar bases. No local film industry. I think that actually matters. At least nothing I watch. Freedom of travel, very, very important. That actually came up with everyone. Freedom of travel really is something that I think really combines the EU and this kind of feeling of, yeah. Also the vegetation and flora, which throughout the EU is still very similar, and
Yeah.
definitely creates a European feeling in my eyes.
It does.
And landmarks also. Like even if I didn't build the Eiffel Tower or I didn't, like build London Gate Bridge, it's still kind of like.
Don't you think architecture?
Yeah.
Architecture, very.
No.
Especially historical architecture and like cathedrals and churches.
Yeah.
Also, we're going to come back to that at the end of this podcast. Definitely also add to the European feeling, although you find them outside of the world. Now, Nicholas, you, European identity. Give me words.
I could mostly retort to the things you said. I agree. The democratic based values, the idea of democracy as a system, is something that feels very European. With most other things, I'd have to disagree with you though, because wine, beer, and music aren't particularly European things, and I don't think.
Music, I meant national music. I meant like Schlager and,
Yes.
and stuff like that. But okay.
And also, that's usually not like that doesn't leave the national borders, which is interesting.
True. But okay, I find it really interesting to disagree on wine or music because for me, for example, the wine culture, even if it's like the most dominant in France, maybe, is still more dominant in Spain, Italy, Germany, Austria, or whatever than it is in the US or any other part of the world, really, outside of Europe. And I would say similarly for beer, even if beer is more German-centered, beer production is also very big in Belgium and Netherlands, for example, also in France, also a bit in other parts, and beer consumption, I am sure, is very high in Europe on average too, and especially like because okay, US also drinks a lot of beer and also to a certain degree wine, but I'm sorry, they drink piss and not beer. And that for me is also part of it, like that for me is part of the European culture. Our beer is strong. Point.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but that's
our wine can get expensive. Mediterranean food for me. That's very specific for me, maybe, yeah. But
yeah,
I guess that might be something for you too.
Well, okay, that's fair. But like, if you consider all of Europe, German food is kind of shit. Well, no, it's not kind of shit, but like compared to Mediterranean food, it has nothing to do with that. So that's very, very heterogeneous. And like wine culture too. There is a wine culture in Germany, but comparing German wine to like French wine is like.
Honestly, I disagree. There is very good German wine. Sure, the best wine is maybe still French, but But okay, not to go into the details of wine. Question I want to ask now that we talked. So basically, you're saying that for you, European identity consists only of things which are at least in multiple countries. While for me, even things which are more related to one country still form European identity.
I
Yeah.
kind of feel that way because,
Okay.
yeah,
Fascinating. Because this is really the kind of thing which I think like we need to go also think about if we want to talk more about the EU. Okay. I think
well,
that kind of
also,
covers the topic.
yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, if I may explain, that's also why I see kind of difficulties with the European Union because with only what we have here, with only these abstract democratic values being kind of Europe, it's hard to really communicate the sensation of being European. And I definitely feel more European than I feel belonging to any single nation.
Mhm.
But also, I can't explain very well
Do you
why
okay?
that is.
Can I then different question? Do you really feel European or do you just feel like human or world? Because honestly, personally, I feel more. Maybe world is a wrong word, but the kind of people you find at this university than European.
The kind of people you
Well,
find in this university.
Which, what kind of people do you find at this university? You find people from all over the world, which are obviously not the poorest people because you do have to pay. Although it's not a rich university either, because there's a lot of scholarships and stuff going on. And it's English, it's diverse, and there's a lot of people who literally have just lived all over the world, like people who've, had military parents and stuff like that.
Yep. Except for me.
And then you have like those random Nepalis.
Oh my god. I'm leaving.
Talking about random Nepalis, how about we switch to everything about Nepal?
it's going to break up. Leave that
I could
question
be
in
the
here.
random Nepali in this group, yeah. Every group needs a random Nepali, in my opinion.
Let's make that allowed.
Yeah.
All right,
so
so
you go.
What do you want to know about, Nepal?
Nepal.
Because
Good
I have so
question.
much to talk about, I don't know where to start,
Well,
Um,
what does Nepal look like? What's the
Nepal?
geography?
Okay, so Nepal. On the north, you have China. On the south, you have India. On the east, you have India. And on the west, you have India. So basically, we're landlocked. We are dominated by India on three sides. And to the north, where we have the mountains, we have China. So, like I said in a previous podcast, most of our trading happens with India. And there are some very minor trade. I wouldn't say minor, like those are major, but there's very few major, trading points, or what do you call them? Whatever, ports, sort of, but landlocked ports. I don't know what they're called.
I just found a country. I have never heard of Bhutan before.
Oh my God, you
Have
haven't
not.
you haven't heard of Bhutan?
I have heard the
Okay,
name before.
what? Okay, good. It's like Bhutan is like, I mean,
I have the map open. It's don't have to explain what it is.
yeah, Bhutanese people would kill me if they heard this, but like
Yeah.
Bhutan is like little Nepal.
Okay.
No. Bhutan is amazing, yeah. But like a lot of, I think Bhutan's official language is Nepali too. I'm not sure, but I think so. Bhutan official language. Let me check. Oh no, it's Dzongkha.
Official language.
Oh yeah. It's Dzongkha, but like Nepali is also spoken there. And anyway, we're not talking about Bhutan.
Yeah. To talk
Uh,
about how it looks then. How is the geography?
just said like
Well, you said you have mountains in
yeah.
the north, but do you have mountains anywhere else or just in the north? Is it
Oh, okay,
flat? Is
okay.
it high? Do you have
Okay.
lakes? Do you have rivers? Do you have
North, we have mountains, and then we have hills, and then we have plains. So it's pretty like easy to remember because as you go north, it becomes colder. Yeah.
So really the entire north border is mountains, and it's not like northeast or northwest only.
No, and the entire. What are the Himalayas? It's the border between India and Nepal and China, basically.
Okay.
And what else about geography? Like
So if you
There's
go
a
like
lot
towards,
of
from what looking at the map right now, from what I see, since it's also on the video,
yeah.
you kind of have rivers when you go towards India. That's where you kind of have agriculture, I guess, or
Oh yeah, that's it. Like the plains are where the agriculture happens. So basically, the entirety of the south, it's called the Granary of Nepal. We call that the that Tarai region, but like that's where all the I won't say all the, but like
most of the agriculture.
most of the agriculture in the country happens.
And
And yeah, in the north, like in the hills, maybe there's sometimes there's yeah,
yeah,
like terrace farming, but
yeah.
like most
Question:
of it,
hills, are they like dry? Is it like more?
no,
Okay, so it's still
it's
very green
totally
in the hills, and only the mountains get like
yeah,
icy and stuff. Okay,
lot of green. It's just green everywhere.
everything is
Like
very green. Okay, that's
yeah,
okay.
uh, everything is green. Like there are forests everywhere, even though like there has been deforestation and patches of land just going not green now. Like we have greenery everywhere, and as we go north, it goes colder and it goes higher. And as you both know, hopefully, Nepal has 8 of the world's top 10 highest mountains.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't.
Oh, that's
Uh,
interesting. There we go.
on the top 10 list, 8 of them are in Nepal, and the highest, yes, uh, Everest is in Nepal too. And in general, like people associate altitude with Nepal, but
We need to check the Hangout chat, please.
yeah. Okay. So, what else do you want to know?
What is the political system?
Okay, so the political system, I don't exactly know what it's called, but it's a democracy, of course. And there was a monarchy until that was 11 years ago. So there was a revolution then, and we basically overthrew monarchy. So now we have three bodies: legislative, a parliament a constituent assembly. We used to call it because we didn't have a
Government of
constitution.
Nepal. Sorry, the English Wikipedia page of the government of Nepal is actually 2 lines.
Yeah, because it's bad. And anyway, like politics is really a very, very sensitive issue in Nepal right now because uh, after the revolution of 2063, which is 2007, 2006, yeah.
Wait,
So what?
I'm just reading this article and it says on June 1, 2001, Crown Prince killed the king and the queen.
Oh, oh yeah, 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 yeah.
That kind of matters. Like, so wait, the monarchy killed itself actually?
No, the monarchy. That was something completely different. That was what
Okay.
is that?
Oh, that was just some event that happened.
Sorry
Okay.
about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was like a
Yeah.
massacre,
Okay.
and
Then 2007, 2008 was the abolition. Okay.
so that was a revolution. And after the revolution, we had an interim constitution that was that was supposed to be interim, but then that lasted. The Constituent Assembly was so incompetent that we didn't have a constitution until 2072, which was last year. So no,
Oh yeah, you have
wait,
different time. Yeah.
2071, I think. Oh yeah, yeah, we have a different time. So I might be
You might want to
confusing you guys. Yeah,
mention
yeah,
that
yeah,
before
yeah.
people's like with time
Oh
counting.
yeah, we have like a different calendar.
By how
So
many years?
2072 it's currently 2073. So that means like 57 years, I want to say. Yeah, 2073 minus 2016. Yeah, 57 years. And it's the different sort of. It's not the standard, Gregorian calendar.
Yeah.
But anyway, like that's a different thing. Like, yeah, and we have a constituent assembly. We have a president elected by the constituent assembly.
How often? Like how many years do they say?
I think it's
5.
4 years, 5 years. Yeah,
5. Okay.
5 years.
And so you
And
did have elections in 2000 whatever.
we had elections in 2007, 2008, and after the revolution, of course. And then we had elections again Last, no,
2030?
2 years ago, I think.
And so the next elections, which are like in 2-3 years, right? Or should be? Are there
Yeah,
any
should be.
worries that they're not gonna happen or something? Like, is there any worries that the government is actually not democratic or
Right now, no. Right now, I don't think so. But like back then, when the Constituent Assembly was,
really incompetent?
yeah, incompetent, which well, arguably it still is. But like uh, the president was supposed to be changed like 5 years, every 5 years. But that the president stayed for like a good 9 years, 8 years. The past president, because of the incompetent, because the Constituent Assembly was incompetent again. So yeah, that's it. I think like
Okay.
I don't know much about political
No,
system.
that's all good. That's all good. Let's go to the next one.
Hmm.
Nico?
Yes, of course. What I'd kind of like to know is what's the food like? Because food changes a
Ah,
lot, even in small
food. Oh
differences.
my God, the food is so much better than here, but better than here, as in the better than the savory food we have here at Jacobs. But the food here in Nepal is very Indian influenced, I'd say. Even though we do have a lot of unique stuff, but like the spices we use, the condiments you use, they're very very similar to Indian cooking. So whatever you associate with Indian
Indian.
cooking,
Okay. What kind of meat do you eat?
we eat chicken mostly, and we eat buff, which is not beef, but buffalo meat, and we eat pork, but it's very rare that we eat pork.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like here.
And your basis is rice, I guess, not potatoes?
Oh yes. What I didn't know, what potatoes? Where where do we have potatoes as a basis?
Germany.
I
German
didn't know
does
that.
use a lot of potatoes.
Oh, I
Or
didn't know.
in Europe in general, even in the US and stuff, you would say.
Oh,
I mean, like, well, I guess in Europe and stuff, you have a basis of potatoes and grain
bread.
and bread,
Bread?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have
That's
wheat. Yeah.
true. Bread
So
is not a thing everywhere.
what
Yeah, but you
we
have mice
have.
bread. Well, for example, in Africa, you have mice bread, which isn't exactly the same thing either.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I guess yeah.
And you have rice bread in China.
Oh yeah.
And for example, to be honest, I don't even agree, Nicholas. In Latin America, they
Yeah.
eat rice, beans, and vegetables and meat for every meal. At
Hmm.
least in the poorer families and stuff, because it's extremely nutritious, cheap, and very healthy.
Speaking of like
What
every meal,
what
yeah.
do you not agree with?
What?
What did you
Sorry.
not agree with? I didn't get that.
Oh, was you saying bread is all over the place?
No,
Basis.
I was saying bread is not everywhere.
Oh, okay. In that case, completely agree with you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to Nepal, yeah. The food, the staple diet is rice, lentil soup, and meat and vegetables. So
Okay.
that's what we eat every day.
Okay.
I'm not even kidding. Like every day, every lunch, dinner, that's our staple meal. We when we talk about food in general, we ask each other if we've eaten rice in our language.
Mhm.
We don't say like have you
Okay.
eaten food? Have you eaten? We say have you eaten rice? Anyway, and yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's
What kind of
that's
sports do you? What are the national sports? What do people do?
we play football and the cricket, which is very popular in Southeast Asia. By the way, like
Yeah.
cricket,
India, Nepal.
cricket is very very popular. Yeah, but um, our national game is one of two things. It's either a game called Kabaddi or it's a game called Kandibio, which basically means a stick and a seed, but you could interpret it as a stick and a ball. So you basically, sort of
Hit
hit,
a ball with a stick and do something.
yeah,
So like
something
baseball.
of that. No, it's much more different. I don't know how to explain it, but like you could look it up if you want. Yeah. So apart from Kabaddi, those are the local sports, but
Yeah. Okay.
but like we have a good football team, which is doing okay, and our cricket team has been doing quite well actually
Okay.
the past few years, and there's not many other sports played.
Do you have national parks?
Parks, of course, we have a lot of national parks.
So
We
you have a strong relation to the environment, like other people, and you protect it.
yes, yes. Nature is very. Nature is the one of the biggest things that
But to what
Nepal
age
has.
is education free?
Education. Um, it's not. It's
What? Primary education is not free?
wait.
What?
Government education. I don't know. Like, but there's a culture. The culture there
Hmm?
in Nepal is that we go to private schools. But
Even
like the
poor people?
poor, what? Like the middle class, they go to middle class and above, they go to private schools.
Okay, even
But
middle
then,
class. Okay.
yeah, but public schools are considered not up to par, and they're really cheap. I know, but I'm not sure whether they're free. I think they're free
Yeah.
too, but I'm not sure.
Is this something that's being worked on? Like, is it part of the constitution and stuff that they wanna? And the new government, like, is it one of the big topics that they wanna improve education, or is
I
everyone like
have
happy with the private schools?
I have no idea actually. But
Okay.
like,
Yeah, if you have no idea, no, if not.
national universities are pretty good, and they're like pretty cheap too. So
Okay.
is that yeah?
Oh,
Anything else?
Yeah. Do you guys smoke cigarettes?
No, like secrets, yes, of course we do, but like not as much as Germans do, or
So it's more of
as
like
I've
an
seen.
outlier thing. And okay.
Yeah, it's like
how
frowned in society. Yeah,
how's it with alcohol?
alcohol. Yeah, we do drink alcohol, but like not much. We do have rituals that include alcohol, culture,
Hmm?
but then we normally it's preferred that you don't drink alcohol,
What
or
about
it's just the way I was brought up. I don't know.
what about young people in Nepal, like age 15 to 22
Mhm.
or whatever? Do they? Is there a lot of a party scene, alcohol abuse, all that stuff? Like, not necessarily in the bad sense, yeah, but like what you have in Germany or that kind of stuff.
And yeah, but what happens is like there's a lot of Eastern influence, so European and American influence. So
Wait, Western?
uh,
Oh, you call that Eastern
Western.
influence?
Oh shit, Western. Yeah, I'm stupid.
Okay.
Western. Yeah, I'm stupid. Anyway, like Western influence, and there's pubs, there's bars, yes, and then the more traditional ones could be like small guest houses where you could drink like local alcohol. But yeah, you have that club culture there too, bar culture. Yeah.
What kind of local alcohol are we talking about? That's interesting.
Um,
Based on rice, I guess.
spirits, yeah, based on rice, and also like normal whiskey and vodka and things like that, but like cheaper, much cheaper, so that they're homemade, like not homemade, they're made locally in Nepal, so that they're imported. I mean, in Germany, it's like that sounds stupid because it's not expensive. Alcohol is not that expensive, but then uh, importing like foreign alcohol into Nepal makes alcohol pretty expensive.
Okay. Um, what about drugs?
Drugs,
Like,
there.
if you would ask me, US has very big drug issues, European average. What about
Yeah,
Nepal?
Nepal. The weed culture is quite. It's pretty high, like. But yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Yes.
But what about hard drugs then?
No, I personally have never heard of any of my friends or young people doing hard drugs in Nepal.
I'm sure some people. Okay, it's a rare
Yeah,
thing.
of
Okay.
course they do,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
of course they exist. But like personally, I've never met anyone.
Then let's finish on religion. We already talked a bit about this, about you said
Yeah.
Hinduism, right? Not to get this wrong.
Yes, we did.
Do you have minorities? What kind of percentage of people are actually Hinduist? Do you know that?
Minorities. Okay, so
Like
we
religious
do.
minorities, yeah?
Yeah, we have. Of course, we have like we have Muslims. We have Sikhs. You know what Sikhs are?
I heard the term, but I wouldn't know exactly what they are.
Sikhs are from India, and they follow the principles of someone called Guru Nanak. And they're not, yeah, they're not Hindus, they're not Muslims. They're a large religion by themselves. So we have Sikhs, we have Muslims, we have Christians. We have a minor Christian community too, which is growing, by the way. part of the Western influence, or as I call it, the Eastern influence. Yeah.
Are Sikhs part of Kiratism, or because I can find these graphs, but there's nothing called Sikhs.
Sikhs, I think they're part of other. Maybe is there an other?
That's only 0.9%.
Yeah, they're not that much, but like in like
So what's
in the
Kiratism then?
capital. What?
What's Kiratism then?
Oh, Kiratism. Okay, so Kirat. I didn't know that was a separate religion. I really didn't
So
know
here
that.
it's kind of
Oh,
like
okay.
kind of not. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so they are separate religious group then, but they are uh from the east, I think. Yeah, towards the east. They live in the east, and I guess I really don't know what else to say.
Then let's go to the next topic. What?
Yeah, sure.
And our next topic, Nicholas, is
Well,
Dun, dun, dun.
you already said that Christianity is a thing in Nepal, and
Oh.
well, it's not only there. Came from the Mediterranean area, I guess. It has spread pretty far thanks to reasons. Yeah.
well, since to Europe being the dominant, I guess, region for
Thanks to colonialism.
between 500 and 2000 past Christmas or something.
So let's talk about
Christianity.
Christianity around the world.
And to make this clear kind of here, guys, we're not going to go deep into the religious aspects or comparing religions. We're more going to talk kind of a geographical difference and kind of like also churches and how it has influenced and maybe at what time Christianity arrived in areas and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, seems about right.
And to kind of go into what we know about Christianity, so we don't like completely talk about our ass. Personally, I got brought up kind of as a Christian, or I got brought up Christian, although I am an atheist at this point, and I have traveled a lot around the world thanks to being pretty lucky in that regard, and I have been dragged to churches all around the world, and I haven't formed that way in myself. Nicholas, what about you?
Well, my mom works with the church. She's a priest. So I'd say I know a fair bit of things.
I would agree. Christianity, just to like go real quick, so history I think doesn't hurt, more or less appeared with the death of Jesus, whether that was real or not, so around the year 0, in Israel, then kind of spread
That's
through...
not when Christianity sprang forth.
Oh, I guess, no, but it spread in the Roman Empire after that and due to that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
Jesus was not a Christian, just to be completely clear on that, and no one around him was, but his death led to the religion being formed in the hundreds of years after. After that, I mean, Christianity was born in Rome. That's why even today the Pope is still sitting in Rome, right? More or less, or in Italy, or I guess not born, but...
Well,
Nicholas, you go.
the history of Christianity is
Make it
complex.
fast. Yeah, make it fast.
You can't make this fast because it's a complex topic. But basically, it was born from Judaism because Jesus was a Jew.
Exactly.
That's the main point. And well, then it became a thing based on the testaments written down by a couple of people in the centuries following the life of Jesus. It's important to note that because none of the people that actually wrote the books that we know as the New Testament of the Bible today actually lived together with Jesus. That's very important.
Yes.
And then it did develop. Rome did take a great interest in it, and the Catholic Church, which is one branch of Christianity, because Christianity is not homogeneous.
Correct me here, but wasn't Christianity the only form for 1,500 years? Catholicism, I mean? Catholicism, the only form of Christianity?
I think Catholicism was the first branch, yeah.
And it
It's
was definitely the major branch for, well, most of history? Oh, wait.
It's definitely the most dominant branch, yeah. All other kind of confessions did derive from Catholicism.
Orthodox people appeared, which is the sub-branch which is mainly present in Eastern Europe, right?
Yes.
With the divide of Rome? Correct? Nicholas?
I don't know very much about Orthodox.
Me neither. But like, Orthodox got created at some point in the Middle Ages, and that's all I'm gonna say about it. Just to be quick about this, yeah. Protestantism is again divided into subcategories, but that's not important. You find in England and like kind of Western, like Germany, Europe. You have.
Yes.
Hmm?
Well, the English branch of Protestantism
Being
is
different.
something else
I know.
still,
I know.
because it's Anglicism. But yes.
Yes. But if we just want to kind of go into the spread of religion around the world, in the US you have Catholicism and Protestantism, right?
You also have a bunch of other things derived from Christianity there as well.
True,
Like
the US kind of developed their own
Mormons.
Christianity with Mormons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Southern America is, as far as I know, mainly or fully Catholic because they got colonized by Spain and Portugal, which were fully Catholic countries back then. Which is how that
Still
kind
are.
of came around.
Still are.
Hmm? Yeah,
They still are very much Catholic.
yeah, true. They still are very much, but back then they were also. I'd say it that way then. And then you also have Christianity in Africa and Asia. Although there it is basically always a minority. Correct
Not
me
sure about
actually.
that.
What about Africa? I think in Asia it's
Um,
always a minority.
In Asia, it should be very minor. I mean, Mohit, you
Yeah.
talked about that.
Yeah.
But
Africa, I
in
could
Africa,
imagine that like South Africa or some other like long-time colonized countries have strong Christianity.
yes, South Africa has very much has a Christian community. I got in contact with them just a couple years back.
We'll talk into that in the next topic. Actually. Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So they have Lutheran churches, which is a branch of Protestantism born in Germany. Martin Luther, who's the namesake of Martin Luther King, for all of you Americans out there. Martin Luther, the original, so to speak, was the person that basically brought, he brought the a kind of reform to Catholicism,
Yeah.
in Germany. He
Yeah.
was the reformator there, and also made a unified German language possible, and all of that.
Now if you're,
cool.
let's say, not European and you come to visit Europe, or
Yes.
or you want to actually no, you want to like kind of discover what Christianity is a bit like without going deep into the religion, but what's the difference between Germany or England, France, maybe the US, South America?
Confessions.
True. So you have confessions in I don't know in Orthodox actually. You definitely have confessions in Catholicism and you don't in Protestantism, right?
Well, no, Protestantism, Catholicism, and such. Those are what you call a confession.
Oh,
They're
okay.
confessed under the Christian religion.
I thought you were talking about confession, like confessing in the. Okay. Okay, all good.
No, that's what a confession is. Sorry.
Okay. Yes, so
Alright.
definitely you have different spreads of the subcategories, but also you have different spreads in at what time and by what kind of people, churches, and the structures around them were built, which changes, which is kind of what I wanted to bring this more into.
Okay, well, if we're talking about architecture specifically,
not specifically only architecture, but also I don't know. I would say that Protestantism
yes,
is based more on like a communal side, maybe, while Catholicism is based more on like a hierarchical basis with
Can you say words?
Yes. And also, Catholicism is way more rich, so you definitely see that all over in the cathedrals or churches. If you want to see beautiful churches or beautiful cathedrals, as in full of gold and diamonds, you're going to be looking to 90% at Catholicism, right?
Yeah, kind of. Well, that's also in part because of the history.
Yes,
like,
definitely. Yeah,
Protestantism contains the word to protest,
Mhm.
and what they protested generally was the Catholic Church.
Yeah. And its use of wealth and riches and.
Essentially, yeah.
However,
although it's not true in all cases. Anglicism, for instance, which is the British branch of Christianity, it actually is specifically like British.
Yep.
Is essentially Catholicism. Like it's essentially a Catholic church, but the
You're able
British
to divorce.
didn't want to be dependent on Rome for their power, so they have their own institutions and their own bishops and
To kind of
cardinals.
sorry, real quick. Actually, what happened for Anglicanism to get created? It's really simple. The king had a wife. She didn't get pregnant. He thought it was her fault. He wanted to get divorced because he wanted a hair, whatever the word is, kid. The Pope was like, no, you can't divorce. So he literally said, we're quitting Catholicism. We're creating a new religion. We're calling it Anglicanism, and it's the same, just that you can divorce. Like oversimplifying it massively, yes. But I mean, we're doing a 10-minute podcast on Christianity or 10-minute topic on Christianity. We have to oversimplify. Also, while we said that if you want to find a beautiful purchase, you have to go for Catholicism, right? This is not the case in the US, where you basically have no huge cathedrals and stuff like that, or any kind of historical structures. However, what's really interesting is that actually South America, aka Brazil and Argentina and all of that, has very big, very massive, very rich churches, cathedrals, and so on, which is due to the fact that back when they were colonized, you had these beautiful slave farms and so on. Irony, I do not find them beautiful, but and the owners of those farms being Western, Portugal, Spanish people who were very Christian and also had missionaries and stuff. Like there was a goal of religious occupation in that area, yeah, or religious how do you call that? Converting people, right?
Mission.
Yeah, of missions, exactly. So those people being very rich, they built these huge and completely like ridiculous casinos to I don't even know, convince people to join or show their devotion to God. And since they had these massive sums of money, since they were abusing thousands of people, it's a very sad story and it's very ironic, and honestly they're not. It's a very weird form of beauty because it's literally just sheer display of wealth in a way in a church. But on the other side, it's so awe-inspiring because you walk into this huge stone thing which is just full of gold everywhere. And like, it echoes and stuff, so. Very fascinating, I find.
Yeah.
Switch?
Yeah, sure.
I know that there's so much more to say on Christianity. There's so much I want to say, Nicholas, and I know you want to say 10 times more. But I think we'll come back to it next time, huh? When comparing religions more than on, like, talking just about one. Well, what do we want to talk about now?
Well,
Please,
next topic on the list is traveling. Traveling. How do you do it? How does freedom of travel work and impact people? And we touched on it briefly at the beginning of this podcast with the idea of freedom of travel being important to people in Europe.
Mm-hmm. We also touched
So let's talk about that.
We also touched on it. Well, I did kind of saying I traveled a lot. I said that I think in the first podcast. I said that in this one. Probably also somewhere else. For me, traveling was always a thing. I mean, I was young, so I obviously most of the paperwork was done, or all the paperwork was done by my parents. But we never had like a vacation cancelled because we didn't get a visa, or anything like that, or even delayed. Sometimes there were issues, or sometimes we were thinking like, do we actually want to go visit this country maybe because of like some issues or something? But never did I have a visa issue. Then when I applied here to Jacobs, or when I was coming here, and we had this group chat with everyone who was super happy on coming. So many people were late, even unable to come to literally go to the university, or delayed because they did not get a visa. As a student, we're not talking about like poor people here or uneducated people or people who don't talk English, and that really shocked me. I was obviously not completely unaware that not everyone has the benefits I have, especially monetarily, and also like I expected that it's not as easy to travel even if you do have the money for other people from other countries, but I did not expect that, for example, for a fluently English-speaking, whatever, young, person from wherever around the world, which is not like North Korea or Iran, to have issues to get a visa to study in an English school in Germany. And apparently it is. So maybe you have something to say here, and wait.
Yeah, like the visa process for Europe and basically Germany for me was very, very tedious. I know like Germany is a bureaucratic nation, very known for its efficiency, but also for its many bureaucratic hurdles, I guess. Yeah, you agree with me on that?
In a
Oh,
way, yeah.
definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, but then like getting the visa was so difficult.
How much paperwork do you have to do?
Paperwork, not much, I think. Like, what essentially? Okay, I'm gonna like describe the visa process to in short. What we had to do was fill out a form, fill out the application form for the visa, and there was this. Do you know what a blocked account is?
No.
Essentially, for a student visa, you need proof that you can, live there
Oh,
and
yeah,
live here in
those
Germany.
9,000 euros you need to have an account?
Yeah. And what I tried to do was not, use that blocked account because I was coming to Jakobs where I am paying for my, my living expenses already.
Yeah, like
So
your
I
living
don't need,
expenses are paid by the like
yeah, included in the, the
institution.
money
Okay.
I pay to the university, not the tuition.
Hmm?
So
Yeah.
you can't really call that the tuition, but like
No,
the
in the
room and
housing
board.
fees of the university.
Yeah, whatever. Like, but that's why I tried to not do that, which is why uh, I had a lot of problems, and it took a lot of time. But then, yeah, I got here. Uh, in the end, it all worked out for me. But then, for my friends, some of my friends from Nepal, they came here like a month late because of visa issues.
My roommate, for example, who is Chinese, came 10 days late, yeah.
Yeah,
And
Oh.
we're not talking about people who, I mean, obviously there might be some cases of this too, but we're not talking about cases of people who applied too late for the visa. It was
yeah.
really like delayed, not sure, we don't know if we want you, or even people actually being denied. Obviously, it's hard to get in contact with those people now, but we had people in the group chat being like, I can't come, I didn't get my visa, I'm really sad.
I can believe
But like,
that.
awkward.
Yeah, sure.
Where, okay, guys, let's think. Is there anywhere outside of the EU where you can travel without a visa?
Me?
No, like specific, like, is there anything similar to the EU where people can travel between countries without a visa?
I think it's important to
Nepal,
note.
Sark?
Maybe
Hang
USA,
on.
Canada?
Sark? Do you know what the
It's,
Sark
I
is?
think
No.
we should actually take note of
Explain.
that because that's not something everybody knows probably. If you're a European citizen,
Hmm.
you have the right to move freely in between countries of the EU.
Yes.
But that's an important side note, I think.
Mhm.
If you're on a visa, then you get that visa for one specific country of the EU, if I'm not
Really?
mistaken.
No, I don't think so.
I think
Well, you
so.
can travel in the EU.
Yes,
Yes,
because
definitely.
You
You
can.
get a visa for the EU. I'm 90% sure.
yeah, I have a visa for the EU.
Oh,
You get a visa to stay, like to live or whatever, in one country, but you're allowed to travel within the EU.
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Also, to kind of point that out real quick, what is a visa? Just to make that sure.
What is a visa?
Yeah, a visa is basically an authorization to enter a country
Papers that you.
on on different bases, right? There's tourist visas, which is just for visiting, which normally are the easiest to get, I guess. Then there's
Hmm.
student. Then there's living.
Yeah, there's a working visa too, and yeah, I guess that could be called a living visa.
There's also some people which get like advantage, like athletes get athlete visa or diplomat. Okay, diplomats are something different again.
Diplomats, yeah.
But I know that athletes, for example, can get advantage at least in the visa process.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I really don't know. But that probably exists. I could look it up.
No, yeah, it depends on the country, but like because okay, well, you get a visa, I guess, as a visitor, but no, yeah, you get a business visa. If you're an athlete and you need to go to an event, you're way more likely at least to get accepted than a normal person, especially short term, like prove.
Yeah. Also, like you were talking about, free
Mhm.
movement between countries. The SARC is Nepal, India, and basically South Asia, a bunch of South Asian countries, the Indian subcontinent.
Pakistan
And
included or not?
yeah,
Okay.
Pakistan is included, Bhutan is included, and Sri Lanka is included, the Maldives, and Afghanistan.
You have free travel between all of those?
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know. Okay.
Oh wait, I'm not sure about Afghanistan, but everything else, yeah.
Okay.
Because Afghanistan was added later to the SARC.
Okay.
And there are other, like the US is basically everywhere. It's granted
What? Oh. No.
almost
Within the
every, yeah,
US.
not everywhere. I mean, like I'm generalizing, but like US can travel to Europe, right?
You still need to apply
Well,
for visa.
they
No,
need
no, no, no,
like
no. They need to apply for visa.
I'm pretty
yeah,
sure
yeah,
not.
definitely.
I'm sure they do. I'm 100% sure they do. Just like we need to apply to visa to go to the US.
No, but because like the none of the Americans in our WhatsApp group were talking about the visa because I'm pretty
Because it's
sure.
not
No,
an
you
issue.
do
Because I
need.
get it. Because I get it.
No, Sean told me that if he runs out of, he's allowed 3 months time in the EU, in Germany.
Yeah, okay, but
specifically.
that's okay.
I don't know about EU, but like he told me that he gets 3 months time with no visa, and if he like runs out of the 3 months time, he can go to another country in the EU and come back to Germany so that and his like 3 months is renewed.
Can confirm, Google confirm that you do not need a visa for 90 days as an American.
Yeah. So America has that.
But okay, I still think that's pretty rare, and that's really, I really think that's not a common thing. Wait,
Okay.
Also,
Yeah.
because that's really just between countries which really trust. I mean, because the idea behind a visa is basically to stop, terrorism, unfair trade,
Yeah.
like all this kind of bad stuff. So it really only like free visa happens between countries which really trust each other, and also you need similar legal bases and stuff.
Also, I'm pretty certain that those 90 days probably don't. Well, that's probably essentially like for touristic reasons.
Yes,
Like you
for
can come visit.
it is written. Oh, I know. Actually, no. To quote, citizens of the United States do not need a visa for a visit of up to 90 days for leisure, tourism, or business.
Oh. Okay, but yeah, but like that's for a business trip,
True, but 90-day business trip is. Yeah, agreed.
of course. But like
Yes,
you're
agreed,
not
agreed.
gonna be allowed to basically
Create a
just open your
company or.
business
Yes, true, like that. Yes.
or get employed in a German company when you come to Germany.
Yeah, I don't know. But, okay. What do you guys think about visas? Like, I was actually shocked about this, to be honest, and I think.
I think it's okay.
You think it's okay?
Yeah, because well, I mean, it is a good move to stop terrorism and smuggling, I guess. Yeah.
I would claim that I would think that in the long term,
Hmm?
free travel does way more to combat terrorism than checks at borders. Not saying like okay, completely get rid of border, but saying that like I mean, I don't think a visa process can dig out a terrorist. I really don't.
Sure.
Like maybe on a log basis,
It's,
right? Like you deny some people, you don't deny others. But I think that if a terrorist organization is like wants to get someone into Europe, there are people in Europe. We don't need that. If you want to fight terrorism, we need to get together as a world, which sounds very beautiful. But I honestly believe that.
But we're talking on pure speculation here. We don't even know why visas were. Maybe it was not terrorism. Why were visas?
Well, because
Why,
war. I mean, like you don't just want the enemy army walking into your country, right?
I mean, there could be other.
I guess that's where it started. Plus taxation, probably also all that stuff. I mean, like
Well,
plus,
yeah, exactly.
plus you need to
Tax
know
like-
who's in your country.
Tax someone, you need to know they're there, and you need them to have citizenship. You can't just have someone without ID.
Actually, no, you don't.
Yeah.
No.
Well, you
My
need to have
dad
them
never had
registered
French
somehow.
citizenship and paid taxes in France.
Well, you need to be registered somehow.
Yes,
is what I'm
exactly. To be
trying to say.
registered. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Sense. Plus, also, I guess if you want to do business in the country, at some point you need paperwork, and to get paperwork, you need a form of identification. And at some point, like the barber, or no, not the barber, like the most local whatever law something, probably does not know what to do with a Zimbabwean passport. But so you need some kind of like for external people some kind of paper to identify them, right?
Yeah.
So you need to
Yeah.
make sure they get it when they enter the country.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess.
But like, I mean, I'm not saying get rid of visas or something, but I'm saying I'm really surprised that there are so many cases where it's hard to get a visa. I wouldn't be surprised if I would have heard that it's hard for American to go to Russia or China and the other way around. Those kind of countries which have known tensions going on and historically and so on. But I didn't expect it to be hard for Nepali to visit Europe or...
Very difficult.
Well, the European Union does have pretty tight borders.
Yeah.
Tight outer borders.
Yeah, more and more so.
Yeah.
I guess we're coming
And
to
I
the end of
think-
this podcast too.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
So,
you are awesome. I am awesome. Let's stay awesome.
Yes. Thank you.
thank you
Milk.
guys very, very much for watching.
Thank you. See you next